I remember you calling her a Welsh tart. Derek, I see Derek.
Don't let me interrupt you. I'm listening. I love this. Look, it's almost all of them. Where is Kerry, by the way?
He's on holiday, I think.
Yeah, I don't think he's joining today.
Yeah, I'm almost sure he's away on holiday.
Yeah, I think you're right, John. Yeah, you're right.
I listened to this whole stereo mix. What?
I blew my nose, that's all.
I listened to the whole stereo mix. I think it's fantastic. I am super, super excited about it. We just interviewed Eber the other day. Gary, I'd love to hear your take on the process and things you hear and what excites you about it.
Well done, Dare. And Eber, who I don't know, but I guess he's a mixer guy in the 5.1 world, is he? I suppose.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's it sounds really good. I think it's a lot of clarity. I'm just amazed that this technology exists, really, that without the master tapes, you're able to pull these threads out and remix them, re-EQ, do all the things we could do with them on 24 track, 16. What was it? 16?
No, I think it was 24, Gary. I think
was it?
I think it's, I think this apparently from what we were, I think it was the Advision 24.
But it sounds really good. It's nice to hear Ray's bass a little louder in the mix, although the original mix was sort of lumpy. I always thought bass heavy, not very bright, a bit sort of dull sounding, a bit like the curtain in front of the mix. And now all that's gone, and now I can see. Sounds great. Yeah, it's lovely to hear.
John, you're very prominent in the new mix. The drums are way up front, and honestly, I asked Eber if he even brought in substitute snare sounds or something, because I couldn't believe how fresh, and I couldn't believe the sound he was able to pull out. I thought the drums sound incredible. I'd love to hear your thoughts.
They do. The whole thing sounds absolutely wonderful, Derek. Brilliant. The whole thing sounds warmer to me. Before it had little edgy bit. It was brittle in a way. The bass drum was too loud, or appeared to be too loud. That was one thing Raymond always said, was that too prominent. But now it's kind of backing slightly into the mix, and it's just goes molds much better with the bass guitar, which sounds a lot better. Well, the whole thing is kind of, everything is where it should be now. Whereas Gary said, it was edgy. It was like a curtain was across it. It was dulled. Now it's really clarified. It's a lovely, lovely mix. I was listening to a couple of tracks just before we came on, and that underlined it for me. I love it.
Derek, let's go to you.
Well, I mean, I honestly, think it's much better. For this album was, for Ray and myself, probably more than even Gary and John, and it was a hard, and Kerry. It was a hard album to make because Phil had left, and we were like, okay, what do we do? And I think it carried over to the album, actually. The feeling of kind of John actually mentioned the word brittle. We were kind of brittle in some ways, as a band, and I think this new mix, it kind of like focuses as the 5-piece which we became. So I mean, I personally, I found it very hard to listen to this album back in the day. It brought up a lot of memories. It brought up a lot of not good memories. But now we sat down and made it, I hope, the way that everyone would have made it in '73. I love this record. I think it's really, really good. I could be, it's kind of crazy, but I kind of think that I could be subjective and say, wow, look, listen to that, John. I mean, and Gaz parts, I could hear them really clearly, and and be a fan of what you guys did. I mean, it was just like, wow, that part is amazing. And you know, the drums and the pushes the band so much forward. You know, and all the parts that we put together, just amazes me. And it's become from one of my least favorites to my favorite, actually. And during the playback with Aber, I remember a couple of weeks ago, sorry, a couple of months ago, you know, when you listen to it, something and you start getting goosebumps. And I did. And when music affects you that way, it's like, okay, this is something that is very special. And I think this album is very special in lots of ways. It's a milestone record because this is the first one as a 5-piece.
Yeah.
And we were kind of like, okay, what do we do? But in retrospect, you know, I think the guys will agree. It was, I think John has said it before, it was a blessing in disguise because we were more focused as a band, as a 5-piece, as opposed to, is that right, John? That's what I believe you said it before.
Well, it
Yeah.
was, you know, I think the rest of the band were trying to give you two guys, you know, as much support as possible, because of course it was a totally different concept with Phil having just left the band, and he left in January, and this was only June, so
Yeah.
we were trying to, I know I personally were trying to give it as much as I possibly could, and I'm sure Gary and Kerry were exactly the same, trying to give you two guys the support because we knew what you were going through, you know, having
Yeah.
lost 33% of the family that were doing the right thing.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, so I was, you know, really up for it. I regard it as a major step forward, you know, because it was the 5-piece. This was the new Gentle Giant, as it were.
Yeah, it was the new period of the band, about to transition into the classic lineup, as they like to call it now. But yeah, for sure, all of those things are true.
One
And
thing,
Gaz,
poignant.
I'd love to get Gaz's point of view because obviously, well, we all know that me and Phil, we always kind of went at it with each other, and you know, me and Ray didn't speak to Phil for a couple of years, several years afterwards because, I mean, it was hard for all of us, you know, his situation, you know, in hindsight, we understand what he was going through, but you know, for you guys, it must have been, and me and us, we're all going through, you know, this period of time when he was not in the band and in the band and not in the band and in the band. It was so weird.
Yeah,
It was
remember
it was difficult.
that meeting in Milan with Pat Senior when
I was going to say,
know, when Phil came in, he asked Phil to come in, and he said, "Okay, Phil, are you going or are you staying?" And Phil said, "Oh, but I'm going," and pat me and said, "Right, goodbye. There's the door," and that was it.
Yeah,
You know, because it was I'm not, no, maybe, that went on for a couple of months.
yeah,
And that was really difficult to live with, that bit of it, because he
That
was, you know, he was a huge part of the band
absolutely.
with you know, the voice and the stage act part of it, and the wind instruments and stuff.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
so to be in limbo, that was a rough place to be for us.
And then we had to record. And from what I remember, tell me, you know, if I'm wrong. We did this very quickly. This album, we wrote it.
Yeah.
Seemed to be
I
like
mean,
within a month, the whole thing. Seemingly.
yeah, that's what I thought. It was about a month. We wrote, recorded, and mixed it.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. It was.
Well,
I don't know. We kind of didn't know. It sort of happened despite us, seemingly. You know, suddenly it was. We had a record to record, and then it was done. It's like, wait a minute, what happened to that period?
Yeah, there was no time to think about it. We didn't dwell on the arrangements or stuff. We just got on with it.
I think we were all a bit stunned. It was a bit like grief, you know. Phil left and sort of upset that apple cart, And I remember in that Milan hotel room, us all sort of standing around, sort of going, well, are we going to continue on or break up now? What are we doing? And it was just this sort of a wobble that happened to us, and it didn't sort of. We ploughed on to play because we just loved playing. We all knew what we had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a odd period that and
Yeah,
how we came out of it was, we landed on our feet.
yeah.
Touch
What-
wood.
I remember walking down the street with Ray, going to Avision, and we were just like in a bit of a stunned feeling. It was like, okay, what do we do now? And we just, as you said, it was almost like we just did it.
Yeah.
There was did it very quickly, and then we went on tour to the States
Straight away afterwards.
Yeah.
straight away. Yeah, yeah.
One
We
thing
were
that
kind of like on. Sorry, go on.
So,
no, it's okay, Gary. Go for it.
we're reminiscing here. This is great. I
yeah.
love this.
Well, this is the whole atmosphere of how the album was made. This is the atmosphere that it was made under. It was like this cloud of what the F is going on, and but still determined and knowing, we all love playing together, that was gonna continue, but you don't know how it's going to turn out, and that's fine. That's how it all is. But it was my least listened to album for a long time. Not because I didn't like the music, but I think, Derek, like you said, it's just, it evoked two sort of painful memories. I don't know about painful, but it was just this weird sort of period where we didn't sort of kind of want to be associated with it for a little while. And so it just sort of sat on the shelves, not getting played.
Yeah, the exact same
Yeah.
feeling I had. Exactly the same. Yeah.
Mm.
But
we-
upon hearing it in the studio and getting it to where we would have done it had we sort of said, okay, take a deep breath and I think now, it sounds what we had, what we did together. As I said, when I was listening to it a couple of months ago, I thought, this band is fucking great. No, I'm serious. I thought, wow, what part of it? How did we come up with these parts? This is just amazing. And I became a fan of Gentle Giant when I was sitting back listening to it. It was like, wow, this is amazing. And it's a feeling that you can't describe, going from that point that Gary just described to this, for me anyway. The same thing.
So would you have signed them?
You know what? Yeah, actually, honestly, because it's so good. Would I probably, yeah, on a demo deal.
Yeah, right. I think right. Contingent.
It's surprising. It's surprising to me because I was born in 82, and this is not like, oh, look how young I am. I had no context, right? So I just gravitated to the music, and In a Glass House was the one for me. So it's so interesting to hear about the emotional, difficulties of going through making and listening to the album because of all the albums. And it's funny, Dan Bornmark said to me, I can tell In a Glass House is your favorite album. I didn't say anything, but he could tell. He's like, you're that kind of listener where In a Glass House is your favorite Gentle Giant album. And for me, listening to this remix, there are a few things that stood out. I'd forgotten how much Kerry is up front in it. Vocally, he sings a lot on this album. The diversity of songs, Inmates Lullaby is so strange, and the clarity of the song is it's almost like listening to a brand new recording. And same with A Reunion. And nothing against John, but the songs without the drums, I feel like they got the most out of the remix, like the stem separation, like with the drums. I think it just covers so many frequencies, and when the drums are out, like I'd never heard. I said to Eber, I could hear the vibes. It's not like I could hear the sound of Kerry playing. I could hear the full instrument. And so I was just so
Yeah.
surprised listening to this album. So many of these things. So feel free to respond to any of that.
Well,
Yeah,
there's so much more space on Inmates Lullaby, isn't there? As you say, in the frequencies. That's of the ones I just listened to, and the sound is superb of the timpani and
Yeah.
those
yeah,
beautiful little rolls that he's playing that, you know, I could never play ever because I just don't have that uh, technique that proper percussionists have, where they can do. They can just play a roll like that, and there's lots of that on it. Absolutely beautiful, beautiful spread on it. Oh my goodness me, lovely. And that's why they sound so good, is because they haven't got me getting in the way.
I
Oh,
was going to say that.
oh, now, John, the drum. Here I was sitting and honestly, my thoughts were, to Ray, because Ray's bass on the reverb, you can actually hear the clarity of Ray, and I know that Ray had the same feeling that we all do on this album, and his lines, are so clear now, and you could actually hear him the pick hitting the strings
Mm.
and I just know somewhere in the ether he's listening to it and smiling and saying, "Yeah, this is what we wanted. This is what we were looking for. If, even though we had to go over to the USA and do a tour and support the album, which was not released, by the way, by Columbia, because I thought it was too uncommercial. I mean, could you imagine Gentle Giant being uncommercial?
What, there's
That
no single?
Exactly.
was the kind of kick in the nuts, wasn't it?
Oh, no
when
kidding.
we go out and promote Octopus, and meanwhile, Columbia decides that they don't want to put out the album that we've just been in and broken our balls recording.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
But
And
the thing was, we didn't care,
yeah,
if I
we went out
remember
there
rightly.
and yeah, we didn't. We just went out there and but it came in on import. Probably one of the biggest imports of the year that came in, if you remember that.
How
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah,
Yeah,
no, I do, but weird
yeah, that
stuff.
was the great thing about it, is that, everybody, the fan base that we had absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
And Columbia must have gone, what have we done?
Yeah.
So, Gary, there's a story I remember you sharing, perhaps in person at Gorg, about laying on the floor underneath a timpani.
Oh, true. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. You want to share that story?
Yeah. Well, it was on the Inmates Lullaby, that track, because a couple of the notes that Kerry was playing, they were pedal timpani, so you could depress the pedal and the pitch would drop or raise, or one or the other. So the very last note of the tune, anyway, Kerry hits the timpani, and it has to go down. I hope, what is that? Fifth? I don't know, octave, something. But you couldn't get it accurately, so there had to be some way to stop the pedal going all the way down. So I laid on the floor underneath Kerry, or acting as the sort of doorstop. So when he pressed the pedal, it wouldn't go any further. But so we had to rehearse it a few times. Down, no, down, get it to the right spot. So I think I
I think it
spent
was
all the time I've been doing the overdubs of the timpani on the floor, like gazing up at Kerry.
Any other sort of stories from that time?
I remember playing a mandolin on it, which was the first time it appeared in the giant repertoire. And I'd bought that off a friend, a guy we knew, who lived around the corner from Frank the roadie and me's apartment down in Portsmouth, Southsea, and I saw this mandolin on his mantelpiece and asked him if he wanted to sell it and negotiated a price, which was £1. And it's this old beat up mandolin. I mean, not in great shape, but good enough to like get the notes out. So it featured on the track in a glass house. It's there
Which track was that, Garrett?
in a glass house.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Of course.
yeah.
Yeah.
But so yeah, from Southsea Common to Broadway.
I'd forgotten that story. That's true. Yeah.
I think
Fantastic.
I think you guys have to get going, but I have one quick question for John. How did you come up with that drum part for Experience? Because every time I listen to it, I just think that makes zero sense. It completely throws the song off, and it is completely perfect. It's just astounding, that part to me.
It's a bounce.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
the
Chicago
shuffle, isn't it?
bounce.
Shuffle. It's the blues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chicago bounce. Only with the snare off. With the snare off and a few extra. Shown to me by Billy Davenport
There you go.
from the Paul Butterfield Blues Band. I said, "What's that?" He said, "Hey man, it's the Chicago bounce." Da 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 da. But I put a few extra notes in. Da 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 da. You know, just I don't know. I asked the guys if they thought it was all right because it seemed to kind of fit, and it was like a baroque kind of feel to it, with the snare off.
It's one of the most amazing drum parts I've ever heard. Every time I hear it on that song, I just think the creativity, like how did they pull these things together? Just amazing. It's astounding to me. So thank you for doing that. It's one of my favorite things.
Very kind of you to say so, but it's the whole band. It's not just me. I sat there and what do you think of this? And if somebody said, "No, I don't like it," I said, "Okay, we'll try something else." Or sometimes they said, "Can you try this?" And so it's like a family.
Yeah, yeah. Derek, do you
Drums
have
by committee.
Derek, do you happen to have the clear vinyl with you? I see something behind you.
Yes, in fact, it's in front of me right now. Another one, and this is the inside. You have the same, the very same thing cover as the last album, and inside the cover is
Oh,
That's cute.
it's beautiful.
nice.
Yeah. Lovely.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
That's
and it sounds it sounds like it should sound, which
Well,
which is good.
I pre-ordered the CD. I need to pre-order the vinyl too.
Oh dear. Oh dear. I'm heartbroken.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. I promised your team you'd be out in 25 minutes. So
Okay.
It's great it's great to have all of us on listening to this and being part of what was how many years ago is this now? 73 with 40.
Yeah.
How many years is it? God almighty.
Don't count.
53.
You're right. 53 years. Yep. But and having it actually finally being heard the way I think we would have loved to have had it heard, in back in those days.
Yeah, that's right.
Well,
So have it come right at the end.
one of the last things Ray told me was, I wish we could just remix our albums without worrying what they used to sound like. And when I heard this, it was a pretty big departure from what Steven Wilson had done with the other albums. And I was like, maybe this is what Ray was talking about. And I think it turned out perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Ray really wanted I know that he wanted this album to be remixed more than any other album we remixed because it was yeah, as we all know, it was done so quickly and done in a blur of emotion, of hard work, of who we are and what we are, and refocusing and everything else. So it was like, wow, did we do that album? You know, and now I look at it and listen to it and think, hell yeah, we did that album, and it's really a damn great album.
Yes, yes. All right, guys, thank you so much. My love to all three of you and to your families. Thank you for being here. Really appreciate it.
Thank you all. Nice to see you all.
Yeah, yeah.
Lovely to see
Bye
you.
all.
Bye,
See
guys.
you all. Bye,
Thank you,
guys.
Anthony.
You're welcome.
Adios.
Bye.
Take care, Des.
Bye.
Cheers,
Yeah,
buddies.
see you later.